All right, so today, if we're going to have a cup of coffee and hang out together and you're going to hear my heart on leadership, definitely going to bring the topic of awareness up. One of my favorites. We work really hard to separate soft skills, these things that we're teaching you about your heart, from easy skills to teach, like changing or counting the change fund, doing breaks, decisions that you've got to make on your shift. So we try to separate those things, and that's what this video series has been about. So why is awareness a hard issue? It's obviously one of our core values. We think it's important. I think awareness is a hard issue because if I can get a leader to be aware of their self and others, then I get you to not be self-absorbed. You don't live on an island. In fact, you let people into your life and say, hey, challenge me. Help me to be aware of my flaws and things going on in my life. And then you also bring other people, or you have the perspective to challenge other people about the things going on in their life and in their flaws. When you start living aware, you start thinking differently. When you drive down the road out of your subdivision, you've probably passed an elderly lady many times, and then you start to live a life of awareness and you notice there's an ambulance at her house. And that intrigues you, so you stop by and you realize that her husband, who's been having health problems, passes away. That awareness then hopefully will lead you to action as you think about her in the coming months. Maybe you bake her some brownies, an apple pie, you write her a note. But that awareness leads to you getting out of your own thoughts and out of your own self and being concerned about other people. It leads you to care in doing something different. Have you noticed a time where someone has a stain on their shirt, or maybe someone's fly is open? What do? We always tell them because we don't want them to be embarrassed, right? But why is it harder when we see someone gossiping or we see a character flaw about someone? Why is it tough to address that? Something that could be far more destructive than a stain on a shirt that could literally destroy that person. We seldom have the courage to speak up. A few years ago, I had a manager who unfortunately was stealing from us. I caught it on video. We realized there were some refunds that were happening that weren't real legitimate refunds, and I had to deal with it. I called him in the office and I said, hey, I'm going to give you the opportunity to do something about this. I'm going to either allow you to tell your wife, or I'm going to call the cops and I'm going to have you prosecuted. And he obviously said, hey, I don't want to get prosecuted. I don't want to go to jail, so I'm going to tell my wife. So I gave him that opportunity, and I wanted to follow up with him. A couple weeks go by, I allowed him to get past it, and I wanted him to deal with it, and he didn't respond. And then a couple other weeks go by, and I didn't hear from him. And unfortunately, I hear a couple weeks ago that same manager now is in jail for doing something very similar, because someone was aware of something in his life, and that was me. And I tried to give him that issue and talk to him about that issue, but he didn't want to change. He didn't want to face his wife and bring that accountability in his life and change. So maybe someone around you is going through something and you're aware, and they need you to encourage them to speak life into them. Or maybe something's going on in your own life and you need someone to challenge you. I love Stephen Covey, author who wrote 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And he tells this story about someone who was trying to achieve success, and they were striving really hard to get to the top. And they got to the top and they were super excited, but they realized they were on the wrong building. The beauty of being aware and having other people invited into your life is they'll allow you to kind of stop and say, hey, something's not right here. I'm going the wrong trajectory. I'm landing on the wrong building, and I need somebody to speak encouragement. And you get to do that when you're aware that it's going into someone else's life as well.